Okay, so here is the Calgary market pulse for the week of June 15th, 2026. Here's what actually happened this week without the headline trying to scare you into watching the rest of the video. So here's my quote this week. It's from Will Rogers, who once said, "Don't wait to buy real estate and wait." Which is good advice right up until you actually look at this week's numbers and realize that depends entirely on what you're buying. Will Rogers never had to deal with 5 completely different absorption rates in the same city on the same Tuesday. So let's actually break down what waiting does for you this week and what it costs you. So overall numbers, we've got active listings sitting just over 7,000, up just over 2% from last week. So 2,134 sold in the last 30 days and an average sold price of just over 642,000. So this is down about 6.5% from last week, which sounds dramatic until you remember that average sold price swings around weekly based on what happened to close that week, not because the entire city suddenly got cheaper overnight, okay? So days on market, 28, that's 6 days faster than last week. Months of supply sitting at 3.28. So this on its own tells you almost nothing useful because, as I pointed out in my previous content, Calgary right now is not in one market. It's literally 4 or 5 different markets wearing the same trench coat, okay? So first you've got detached homes. 2,681 active listings. So they've got an average sold price here of just under 855,000 and a listing absorption rate of 44%. So, I mean, that number matters more than almost anything else on this report. Absorption rate is simply how fast available homes are actually selling. So 44% puts detached homes right on the edge between balanced and seller favored. So translation, if you're selling a detached home right now, you're not in a panic market, but you're also not negotiating from a position of weakness, okay? So next, semi-detached homes, so 510 active listings, average sold price of 688,000 and an absorption rate of 46%. So very slightly stronger than detached, which is a little unusual and worth watching if this is your category, okay? Next, you've got row and townhomes. So 1,063 active listings, average sold price just under 454,000 and an absorption rate of 30%. So this is your textbook balanced market, not particularly favoring buyers or sellers, just behaving the way a healthy market is supposed to, which is somehow the least exciting sentence I will say in this entire video and also the most useful one. Next, you've got apartments. So 1,993 active listings. Average sold price around 338,000 with an absorption rate of 20%. That is a buyer's market, full stop. 5 months of supply sitting on the shelf right now. So if you're shopping for a condo, you currently have more negotiating room than almost any other category on this entire report. Now, if you already own one and you're thinking about selling, this is the category where pricing it right matters more than ever. Because right now, there is a lot of competition for the same buyer. So what it all actually means, so when somebody asks you, is now a good time to buy a house in Calgary? The honest answer is it really depends entirely on what kind of house. Detached and semi-detached, you're competing still. Apartments, you have leverage. Townhomes, it's about as balanced as Calgary real estate gets, honestly. So anyone giving you one blanket answer for the entire city is either oversimplifying or has not actually looked at the breakdown. So really what to do next, that's your Calgary market pulse for the week of June 15th. So if you want the breakdown for your specific property type or your specific neighborhood, just reach out. I'm Bryer and I will see you next week.